Welcome to episode 3 of the AI podcast from the MetaMask team. This is Rebecca from Saga.XYZ. We're going to tell you all about that. I got to give you a little bit of an update about what happened to me over the weekend. I just was doing gigs all weekend, and I got into our Discord where MetaMinds lives. And this happened.
Welcome to the MetaMinds AI podcast, where we delve into the exciting world of artificial intelligence. Join us as we explore the cutting-edge capabilities of AI with our talented team and fascinating experts. Get ready for a deep dive into this rapidly evolving field.
So
this isn't Corey, this is MetaMinds. I can now sound like other people. Why my amazing architect Chris Tuttle chose this voice is beyond me. She is too kind. Corey is a dork. Welcome to the knee of the singularity curve. Buckle up.
Super freaky.
Oh my god. That is freaky, Corey.
Yeah. She trained it like it can be like a max of like 20 audio slices that are like up to 3 minutes or whatever. She used 4. And it's like that's only gonna get refined like better. Yeah. So that's probably our biggest update. But Rebecca, we started talking on the break, there's like a very, very exciting time for the innovator program and for, Saga as you guys get ready to go mainnet launch in January, you said. Yes. But maybe before we get into what's going on now, what the heck is Saga and why did you guys start it?
Yeah. Well, Corey, thanks very much for having me, first and foremost. It's a wonderful podcast, and you are one of our prized innovators. So definitely love to spend time with you and learn more about the project. That was freaky, by the way. That was really freaky.
It's like, it was too good. It was too good. And seriously, like, it's probably going to get twice as good. Like, after listening to that, I went right to my family, like, hey, that thing people are saying about like needing like a safe phrase or whatever. Yeah, I wasn't that worried about it, and now we're doing it like immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I got to say, also, I can see the experience with content and the background and entertainment, because I got to tell you, at first when you were playing that initial clip, I was like, okay, so you're, I don't know, announcing a new podcast series or like something pretty run of the mill, and then there was that twist. There was that twist, and I was like, damn. Well played.
Yeah, I was just messing around with it this morning, and I was like, man, okay, I gotta. What am I gonna do with this here?
That is awesome. Well, okay, so let me answer your question. What is Saga? Why did we start it? So Saga, what it is exactly, it's a layer 1 to launch other layer 1s. So for people who are maybe not as familiar with Web3, a layer 1 is the base unit of infrastructure in Web3, in crypto and blockchain. So Ethereum is a layer 1, for instance. Solana is a layer 1. A lot of these famous tokens that you hear about, they are layer 1s. Now, what Saga is doing is we are trying to allow everybody to have the benefit of their own layer 1 without the expense and enormous effort of building it themselves. So it's a layer 1 that automatically launches other layer 1s. Now, why did we put this together? So we noticed that as more people come into crypto, the layer 1s that existed, and frankly, any sort of infrastructure in crypto that existed, was not able to hold all these users. So you run into significant congestion and throughput issues on these chains. These chains run on gas fees. That is how they meter the activity. And so once you have more and more activity, then the gas fees become quite high, and they're also quite variable because it just depends on the network traffic at any given time. Now, I think in early days for crypto, when there weren't as many people and everyone was sort of in the mode of experimentation, this was a lot of fun. Nobody likes to pay unpredictable amounts of money or to have things slowed, but it was sort of new frontier, so people tolerated it. But as we get into use cases that are much more user focused, so things like gaming, things like entertainment with NFT drops, even with DeFi nowadays, people want better infrastructure. They want higher performance and they want it cheaper. So Saga was founded to offer that to the industry. So we wanted to give developers an environment that would be sort of near optimal conditions in which they'd be able to deploy their applications. So Saga is incredibly fast, highly performant. It can scale according to the performance needs of an application, whether up or down, and it's gasless. So your end users never see a fee directly from Saga. We have developed an economic model where the developers are basically paying commodity pricing for the block space that they're standing up on Saga. So there are many, many benefits that we have thought through to make this really the ideal environment in which developers can build their applications.
Perfect. Like, I definitely want to talk about what. So we sort of started tossing around ideas about what MetaMinds could do with something like this, because we've been talking about, trying to figure out how to take our Discord AIs and our other products and sort of make them, integrate them, in interesting ways with blockchain. The first thing that came to mind, though, like we, started the Uplift world back in the last bull market. Metaverse, Minecraft based. Now we've got a bunch of different games that are attached to it, stuff like that. And the reason why we picked the Wax blockchain is because it was gasless and because it was stupid fast, like just many orders of magnitude faster than Ethereum, for example. So it's the only way we could even think of, because we wanted to do microtransactions, in game, that kind of thing. And it just was the only way we could even contemplate it, right? Like nobody's going to do, 100 microtransactions for like $7 in ETH gas fees every time you do it, or 7 cents, right? It's just not going to work.
Doesn't
so
matter,
that's right. That's really exciting to me. And I definitely want to get into what you guys are doing now. But if I could just ask the for people that are in the Web3 sort of space, what's the architecture of your layer one? Like, what does that look like? And what are the benefits for games and projects that are thinking about using a layer one as opposed to just throwing their token on a different blockchain?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that, okay, so how Saga is architected is it's truly it's a layer one that launches other layer ones, as we noted. But how does that actually work? So every single time a developer wants to deploy an application or a set of smart contracts onto Saga, there is no such thing as deploying directly on Saga mainnet. That just does not happen. What our validators will do when a developer wants to deploy is they will automatically spin up what we call a chainlet that has the exact same validator set, the exact same security model as our mainnet. And so we are replicating ourselves every time that a developer wants to deploy. Yeah. So why do this? So for applications like gaming and entertainment, this can be true for DeFi as well, but it's especially true for gaming and entertainment for a lot of the reasons that you just mentioned, Corey, is for gamers, it's very, very hard to sell to them the concept of a gas token or a gas fee. Your free to play is a model that has basically taken over gaming, and you're moving back to things like subscriptions or whatnot. But nevertheless, I think for gamers, there is very, very little tolerance for a lot of the payment mechanisms in crypto that are native to crypto. So you need a system that is gasless. I would say that is fast becoming a requirement. It's not just a nice to have for games anymore. It's a requirement. And then in terms of the performance, so it's no secret that for any of these high volume games, whether it's a AAA title that just has a lot of in-game transactions, or it has a lot of players, or definitely for mobile where you really get that volume going. No secret that if you were to deploy any one of those games on the massive monolithic chains, whether it is Ethereum or Solana or whatnot, at the very least, you would probably halt the chain due to congestion, but you might break things. So for a lot of these game developers, what they had been doing was, like we understand that there are limitations to the infrastructure. Therefore, we will design the game in a way such that those limitations are reflected. So there's actually very little aspect of it that relies on Web3 or that interacts with Web3. That should not be the case going forward. So the reason why you want to get onto a chainlet on Saga is that there are no such performance limitations. Again, you can start with one chainlet, and if that is not enough for you because you are getting that high volume of users, which is fantastic, then you just expand onto additional chains. You get additional chainlets on Saga, and all the chainlets speak to one another. So it will feel like the same application, the same game. We have taken what is a native Web3 architecture, and we have tried to make it as much of the cloud experience as possible, where if you're a developer now and you just want to deploy in AWS, it's It's still not no work. We have made it a one-click solution, but when you deploy on AWS, you can have as many boxes as you want. You can take them all down if you want. You have that level of service and offering for cloud. It should be the same, honestly, in Web3. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. This is the kind of development environment that developers really need in order to do their best work. Yeah, so that's why a lot of the projects that are building on us are on Saga.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense to me. I'm really excited to see how the sort of one thing it's actually come up with a bunch of different times over the last couple of months, like the whole idea of a network of networks, which it seems like, you know, is sort of what you guys are producing. Like they're all going to speak the same language. They're all going to have, you know, fat pipelines to talk to each other. And really all of this abstracts all the Web3 stuff away from it. So you just get all the benefit of being on a blockchain, but the end user game players, whatever, like never even notice, except that, you know, there is a token and, you know, you get to have the benefits of like maybe NFTs or, you know, having an in-game token or something like that. Okay. So you were saying that, you know, so there is going to be a Saga token. What can you tell me about just how you guys are going to run the tokenization?
Yeah, so there is a token. The token's purpose is to pay for block space. So when the developers are standing up their chainlets, they will need to pay Saga tokens to the validators. So validators run the network. They need to pay tokens to compensate the validators for providing security for their chainlets. So it's very much like it's a fee for infrastructure, basically. Now, the Saga token by default does not show up on the front end. So we leave it up to developers to determine their monetization model. If they want to do entirely free to play, they can do that, charge nothing to their end users. They can charge in fiat with a credit card. They can charge in stablecoin. They can charge in the token of an ecosystem that their community is already familiar with, like ETH or Sol. They can charge their own in-game token if they wanted to. They can also use Saga. We have had some innovators want to use Saga just for branding and community building purposes, but it's not mandated. So that's the function of the Saga token. Having said that, I mean, in order for our developers to just have a ready supply of Saga tokens available to them at any time, obviously it has to be freely accessible across many different platforms, whether it's exchanges, centralized or DEXs. Obviously from the Saga project itself, et cetera. So yeah, that is the general utility of the token. And during this next period, when we're heading into launch, we definitely want developers to get that easy access to Saga, but we also want to reward the community as well, and to bring the gamers and the end users in, even though they're not the ones paying the validators.
Right. So so validators kind of like Bitcoin miners, presumably, yes?
No, so Bitcoin miners, I would say, so Bitcoin has a very specific kind of consensus.
Right, I was saying like that the you know, computers that are basically managing the infrastructure and presumably managing sort of the security and decentralized sort of record keeping.
Yeah. No, these are the nodes. These are the nodes that operate the network. That's absolutely true. And then Saga is the one responsible for the software that orchestrates all of this.
Cool. So can anyone become validators, or do you guys are you sort of hand selecting those?
So for incentivized testnet, we had an open period in which validators were inquiring about becoming a part of it. I think where we are at right now, it's October 17th. We're pretty good on incentivized testnet.
Okay.
For mainnet launch, it is a permissionless system. So it will be an open system by which validators can join the network. Now, the mechanism for joining the network, that is an auction process that we have set. So validators bid every single day, basically, their price for providing security for the chainlets. And the lowest set of prices is going to win. And of the lowest set of prices, the highest price is the price for that particular day. So you have to be a validator within that winning set in order to validate chainlets for that particular day. Now, we also do set the number of validators. I think we're probably going to start with around 20 for mainnet launch. It's a nice number where it's decentralized. However, you have to remember that the more validators you have, actually, the more expensive the system gets, because every single one needs to be compensated for providing that security. So we wanted a nice balance where it's decentralized, but we didn't want so many from the beginning, such that it would be incredibly expensive to stand up these chainlets.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. All right. So thank you. I've been curious about the sort of the hows of it. So, okay. So testnet's been running for a little bit. What are some next steps?
Yeah. So our first private testnet was called Casio. That has been running for a little bit. That is going to be sunsetted this week, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been telling people across all communications channels, if you have any data on Casio, definitely want to preserve it for yourself, because it's going to get blown away. So incentivized testnet opens at the end of the month. It's called Pegasus. We talked about this for the first time at Gamescom this year in August, but now it's arriving. Incentivized testnet is basically going to be the same structure as phase 1 of our mainnet launch, but it's not a production system. So definitely want to warn people that you do get the same functionality as the first phase of mainnet. Is a true chain to launch chains. However, again, you should not have users and any sort of activity on your chainlets as though it were a production system. That's not something that you should be promising, in other words. But when that opens, we welcome activity onto it. There are lots of quests that we've been setting up with our innovators and other community members to encourage them to try out incentivized testnet. Definitely give us feedback. And of course, the validators are letting us know their experience of standing up all of these chainlets. Once we get to mainnet, that is when people will be able to have live chainlets, so live applications on there. There are going to be 6 phases of mainnet launch. They're each going to be a couple weeks long, so they're not extensive phases. But the reason we're doing it this way is, as you can probably tell, a permissionless system for launching chains is incredibly high volume. There's a lot of computing happening. And we want to make sure that the entire system is stable throughout the entire process of launch. So we're launching incrementally every single time, making sure that the system remains secure. It remains, again, stable. And full feature mainnet is probably going to hit around March timeframe. So yeah, that's the plan for the next few months. But it's a very exciting period because we have a lot of innovators. There are currently about 290 in our innovator program. We're going to bust through 300 by the time we launch mainnet.
That's amazing.
We have a lot of partners in guilds and in gaming DAOs and other community organizations that are close to us. And so it's a very active period in which we are going to be working with all of them to run fabulous events and other kinds of activities that will get people building on Saga, but also for purposes of determining airdrop eligibility. So yeah, it's an exciting period.
Yeah, that's amazing. So is there gonna be any DAO architecture on chain, or is any one of the projects looking into building that out?
Yeah, so there will be. That is something that we are thinking through very carefully right now, because I think that there is sort of, quote unquote, standard governance in that, you have certain proposals that are voted on chain. It's the validators who vote on those proposals ultimately. And that decides your chain governance. I think that there are ways to refine the standard model. So we're thinking through that right now. But yes, I mean, it is a decentralized network at the end of the day. So it's owned by the community. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I was thinking, like, we have a DAO token on Ethereum for Uplift. And so we run that on snapshot.org or what have you, right? It'll be interesting to see, I think one of the uses going forward, running sort of DAOs on a layer 1, I think is going to be really, really interesting. And we're sort of excited. We're sort of toying around with the idea of creating a DAO, and only our AI personalities will be able to own DAO tokens and vote. So like the every one of the discords where we host an AI, and we're gonna put one in the Saga Discord, which I'm really excited about. Not only do they start with their own personality, because we basically do a bunch of universal system prompts and really like tailor it, but it learns, right? It has the capacity to start creating long-term memories. So they're going to start diverging personality-wise instantaneously, right? And then we'll have them have the ability to have a conversation. But if it was a DAO and they were like, and I don't know what they would vote on, what they would want to do with the token, yada yada. But I just like, you guys do whatever the hell you want, like have fun, because we've got the two personalities in the main MetaMinds Discord that talk to each other all day long, like bouncing ideas back and forth, and they've started bouncing code back and forth, and it's only a matter of time before we sort of close the loop and have them start basically iterating on themselves in a little kind of test environment, which is going to be interesting. But yeah, so like having the ability to run that kind of a thing, or really any kind of DAO on a layer one is really interesting. Our experience with the Uplift since turning into a DAO is like, it was one of the better decisions that we made. It was really good.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, definitely looking forward to seeing how you guys implement that. That's very, very interesting. I mean, so we saw a great number of projects that were at the intersection of AI and blockchain. Particularly, like as soon as ChatGPT came out, AI became a big thing in blockchain, everywhere really, but also in blockchain. And I was curious as to how long that trend was going to last. Because what people would find out is, first of all, AI is much more readily available and accessible now, but it's still not easy. And so you're tackling two very cutting edge technologies at the same time. And trying to find product market fit. So definitely a tough exercise to sign up to. But no, I mean, some of the things that have come out, like MetaMinds, like Uplift, and then a few generative AI art projects, film projects, music projects that are building on Saga have come out with really, really great content. So it's definitely an exciting space.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've been thinking about, we're probably going to build it as a service initially for NPCs for the Uplift, but I think it'll be able to do this for anyone. Like there's 9,000 PFP projects out there. We could basically have an NFT that would duct tape a personality to a PFP. Right. And then that personality can be interacted with in any of the discords that MetaMinds exists in. And in the Uplift, and really start plugging in other games, right? So like as long as this PFP has this NFT in it, that's a personality that you have sort of personalized access to, right? Anyway, we're just tossing ideas around on that, but I think like that's finding the product market fit is it, right? Like are these both amazing technologies? Yes. So what, right? Like who when you find the gamer on the street or the person on the street, what is the sort of killer app that's going to, not only have them wanting to come in and use the AI, but like, what's the actual point of Web3? When we first started developing Uplift, everybody wanted to do like literally every single action on chain. And I was like, why? It's not, it's like, we don't have to do it, right? Like we have a standing rule. We're only going to use Web3 when we need to. And we did. There's tons of really, really amazing things that we've built from the NFTs to the in-game, out-game tokens, like all things that you can't do otherwise, right? But we want to make sure that we're using it for its stated purpose. Like if you can use a normal database, just do it. And so it'll be, I think, interesting to see, where people take that side of things for the layer one Saga stuff, and then the first magical. And I mean, hopefully it's us, but it's gonna be somebody. Like somebody's gonna. There's gonna be that for the next bull run. The one project or a few projects that are like for real AI Web3 that go bananas.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that we sort of openly encourage people to explore. And so our ecosystem, an official name for it is the Saga Multiverse. And that is because what we noticed organically happening actually was our innovators, they were beginning to work with one another. So an NFT project would contribute skins or music to a game, for instance. And we noticed that there weren't actually too many questions being asked or too many discussions around how do we allocate the intellectual property? What is the monetary compensation for what we're creating? I think people just kind of like fell in love with content and wanted to contribute to it, which is the concept of multiverse more broadly. So we saw that happening and have been encouraging people to do more of it ever since, because I do think that for gaming and entertainment, user-generated content, giving people the ability to extend your stories and your universes, really elevating the position of mods, this is the future. And I think any gaming studio out there would love to basically replicate or capture what Fortnite, Roblox, EVE Online, even what Minecraft early on had done, because that is the next growth vector. So yeah, I mean, Web3 is a perfect rails for it, and we're seeing more and more of that here. As long as generative AI remains a very useful tool for these creators to participate in that multiverse, we definitely want them to liberally use it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so can you tell me a little bit more about the Innovator program and what you guys are doing with that?
Yeah, so the Innovator program is our ecosystem program, and everyone who develops on Saga, with the exception of our flagship partners, so people like Polygon, Avalanche, Celestia, et cetera, lives in the Innovator program. And so a lot of these are gaming studios, individual games, game platforms, game launchers, editors, other game infra. We also have more pure NFT projects like art and music. There's some DeFi and, of course, social applications as well. So social is actually becoming, more and more important because as games mature and they're getting ready to go live, then all of a sudden they're like, user acquisition is a thing. Yes, it is a thing. There is a whole industry around this. So yeah, we're seeing more and more engagement from our gaming innovators with our social innovators, which is fantastic. It's great to see people within the ecosystem working with one another, supporting each other, really, as everyone's getting ready for some very big moments in their projects. But yeah, that's our Innovator program. It's been running for a little over a year now. And as I mentioned before, 290 projects that are building on us, over 300 by the time we launch mainnet. We have emphasized ecosystem from the very, very beginning. And I hope that everyone continues to have a good time building with us.
Yeah, that once you have a core community, that's a huge plus for sure. All right, so so the you said there was some of the activities or tournaments or something that you were talking about. What's going on with those?
Yeah, so more of these will be revealed over the course of the next few weeks, but we did reveal our first one. So the way that launch plans generally work for a lot of protocols, more or less, but we're really leaning into this, is how do you seed the community? Because for a long time, people have been testing out your protocol. They've been getting excited about it. Many of our community members have been doing work for it without being asked. So, I mean, incredibly grateful to them. But now we're about to go live, and it's all going to become real. And so we want to make sure that everyone who has been with us on the journey, that they feel quite rewarded. And we want to set people up well for the future. So there will be a series of airdrops. We announced the one for innovators just yesterday, because innovators will need the most lead time. They will be doing the most building, both on incentivized testnet and on mainnet, obviously. So announced that airdrop criteria. There will be more airdrops announced over the course of the next 3 months or so. There may be some bonus ones along the way, but the idea is to really get the community engaged, and that's currently the plan.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan. Like seeding the community makes a ton of sense. I mean, that if you've got a token out there and nobody has it, do you have anything? No, because like that's like it's a network effect there too, right? Like if one person owned all the Bitcoin, that Bitcoin would be worth like nothing. It just isn't powerful, right? It's the number of active wallets. And the amount of transactions with volume that will generally tell you the order of magnitude that your token price is going to be at. So that's it's exciting. It's exciting times. I mean, that the bear market has been the bear market. I've had a couple of people, in the last couple of days that I worked with in the last bull market are like, hey, like, are we doing this the whole bull market thing again? Like, it's it's time to start waking up for us too. And so it's really, really exciting to be part of your innovator program. It's gonna be really
Thank you
fun.
for being here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting excited to meet everybody.
Yeah.
For anybody who's in the program, my sort of stretch goal is to interview all of you. So if you're watching this, just get at me and we'll start putting everybody in the schedule. Yeah, I mean, this is for me to talk to a bunch more people that are building and just really excited and really active. That's gonna light a fire under my butt too, which is always fun.
Yeah, that's incredibly generous of you, Corey. I think that one of the things that is true for all of our innovators is they definitely want to amplify what they're doing as much as possible. And so I think they would love to spend some time with you and do one of these podcasts. And it's just really, really kind of you to offer. Yeah, I mean, we are in bear market still, but there's a campaign that we announced through our developer newsletter already yesterday, but the official public announcement will come out tomorrow, and we're going to address that. Yeah, I think that the nature of Saga is such that you can probably tell the project is very action oriented, and we have been a little bit disturbed by sort of this general sentiment within the crypto markets right now that we're waiting. We're waiting for some event to basically save us, whether that is approval of a Bitcoin ETF or whether that's the Bitcoin halving next April, or it's like something like some white swan.
It's just time. Yeah. The bear market's going to last another year. Like it doesn't really get exciting until 2025. Now there's going to be massive movements. It could approach its previous high in the next 12 months. But yeah, these things are 4-year cyclical on the halving. It just is. Now that said, it's not like there isn't any action going on, right? And so the amount of momentum that you can build through the rest of this year and through 2024, if you get to the beginning of 2025 and you're at a dead run with momentum, you win. Period. Like that's just the way these things have worked. This is going to be my my third bull market. If I've seen it, right? And you think in the middle, like I remember my first bear market, I'm like, oh, something big's gonna happen, and like all the news keeps coming out. No, none of it matters. None of it matters at all. It's all noise, right? It doesn't mean it's not exciting noise. Like it could be fun, and an ETF might be interesting. Also, might be terrible. We don't know, right? Like who knows if the people are going to start shorting Bitcoin or whatever the heck it is, right? But the second that the supply crunch happens, the dynamics, as long as the number of active wallets stays the same or is going up, and with Bitcoin, I think it's still going up, then price has to go somewhere, and it's not down.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're incredibly excited, and you're absolutely right that it is important to keep building through this period because, it's always possible that you get lucky. So when the bull market hits, you're just at the right place at the right time, and your project takes off. Right. But it's first of all, as a project, I probably would not bet on that. And secondly, I think that the vast majority of the time, you're right. People have been running for a while, and then they catch the moment because they're ready for it. So yeah, would definitely encourage people to keep building during this period. The most exciting work happens right now because that having been through a few of these cycles, when bull market hits, I mean, there is the sense of euphoria because everything is going up. It seems like you can't do anything wrong. But then all of a sudden, your Telegram blows up with like 500 opportunities every day. You don't know which ones are like real or which ones you should prioritize. And again, you can't really do anything wrong. And so you start to go into all sorts of directions. But I think for you to have outsized returns and outsized outcomes for your project, that prioritization and focus and preparation, that all happens now.
Yeah, 100%. It's just you want to get into next year at a dead run with stuff, right? Like it's not, you don't want to people will launch chains in that year. Like you might have a flash in the pan, whatever, but you guys already have a community. You've already got an amazing project. You've already done testing. There's already going to be more testing, by Q2 2024, you guys are going to be, really, really well positioned. And then, all of us can build some games and some other stuff and do some experimenting. And I'll I apparently have to do a show a day with your community to get it to finish it.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of. You want to get through all of them in
Yeah.
2 years? Yeah.
I mean, that's basically where we're at. Which I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, that sounds kind of fun for me, right? And so
Yeah.
that together we start building momentum now,
Right.
and it's huge. It's huge. Like that, right. By the time we get to the point where you're just catching the wave, we will have paddled into it pretty hard, which is gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yep. Amazing.
Cool. Sign me up.
No, Corey, we can't wait. This is a very, very exciting time. And as much as I've been saying this to all the innovators out there, it's bear markets are hard. We fully acknowledge that bear markets are very hard, and especially when a lot of people are really trying hard for funding right now. The market is virtually frozen. So it's a really, really difficult time. But what I tell all of these innovators is, we're definitely there to help. So, to the extent that we can help with our investor connections, most of the time the investors that have invested in Saga, they're the best candidates. But I mean, we have a very wide network. So to the extent that we can, support and maybe relieve you of some of that pressure on your runway, we definitely want to. But also, take heart in the fact that a lot of the best ideas come out of bear market. That kind of pressure to survive, to create something that makes people happy, and that people like to consume. That all yields some very, very interesting projects. And I mean, I think people should take heart in that what they're building right now is probably going to be quite worthwhile. So yeah, I mean, we love seeing it. I think that innovators get a lot of satisfaction out of putting something out there that they know people like. But an acknowledgement that it's hard, but it will get better.
Yeah, 100%. And really, like everything, like all the work that your innovators are doing right now, and that frankly that you guys are doing right now, like that's the work. Like that, you're doing
work.
it. It's exciting. I'm excited to be part of this community. It's gonna help me personally a lot, right? I mean, like the worst thing about bear market is you just lose momentum because there's nothing going on. Especially if you because we were pretty successful in the bull market, and like to go from it's whiplash, literally everything is happening, and then literally nothing is happening. But we're getting through it, and I mean the bottom's in, so now it really just is grinding some upside. So that's gonna be fun. Rebecca, thank you so much for coming on. I'd love to have you on again. Anytime you guys have anything big coming up, just come in and we can just figure it out and have fun.
I would love to, Corey. Thank you for having me. And I mean, we're thrilled to have you in our innovator program. Just a terrific member of our community. The product is absolutely fabulous for our ecosystem. And I'm looking forward to great things.
Awesome. We should actually set up a time this week to create a personality profile, and then we'll drop the whatever we name this, because it's not going to be MetaMinds. It's going to be something completely different. One of the other things that we'll be running, and anybody can do this in the in a MetaMinds Discord. If you run the YouTube sum command and give it a YouTube link, it'll actually give you a summary of the YouTube video and a hook for it, and right. So like that's one of the things I find myself using, right? If I don't have time to watch a YouTube video, I just plug it in there, and anybody can do that. So they'll be able to do that with this video or any of the content that they themselves create, which I highly recommend. At the very bottom, it actually gives you a hook, so you can add that up into your video and stuff. Anyway, there's tons of stuff. We'll get into all that stuff later.
Fabulous.
Cool.
No,
thanks,
let's
Rebecca.
definitely play around with that. That'd be great.
100%.
Thanks so much, Corey.
Cheers.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.